got the conscious mind, okay, and the unconscious mind. Now the conscious mind represents 10% of our brain, very limited part of our brain. This is where our willpower is. Now if this was a bigger place, if this was bigger, stronger, then you guys probably wouldn't be here. None of us would. Okay, so 10% of our brain, right here in our conscious mind. It's only capable of paying attention to between 7 plus or minus 2 pieces of information at any given time. Just gets overwhelmed easily. Okay, so many people start firing too many things at us, lists of things to remember. We're kind of no, right? Got to write it down. Okay, and then we've got our unconscious or subconscious part of our mind. This represents 90% of our brain. This is the motherboard of who we are. This is the mainframe of who we are. This is the part of our brain that tracks all those internal processes that go on inside our bodies. You know, when to breathe, when to the heart beats and all those systems, when we get ill and all those cells that go and try to support the body, all those things. This is where our instinct is as well. This is part of our brain that we're driving down the road, and all of a sudden something steps out in front. We have to slam on the brake and our arm just automatically goes out. Right? Anyone do that? This is a part of our brain where you start to trip maybe and your arm goes out. You just instinctively support yourself. Here. This is a part of our brain that's constantly going. It's like a video recorder. This is a part of our brain that has tracked everything that's going on. This is a part of our brain that right now is aware of everything that's happening in the room. An example of that is with our conscious mind. Right now we are being bombarded with billions of bits of information. In this room, the lights, the buzzing of the lights, the movement of people, the breathing of people, and then put with that all of our body functions. You know, are we comfortable here? Do we need to move here? Do we need to stretch here? All that, tons and tons of information we're bombarded with at any given moment. Now with our conscious mind, we can't track that. We can't. It's too much. But that unconscious, subconscious part of our mind is constantly going. It's tracking it. And a good example of that is right now. None of you were probably aware of how your left foot felt until I told you. Until I drew your awareness to it, right? But some part of your mind was aware. That unconscious, subconscious part of your mind is aware, and it's always tracking. Okay, should we move her in? Should we breathe? What should we do? So this is a big part of who you are. Okay, and here's how they work and how hypnosis can help. All right, so I want you to, in your mind, for this class, imagine right now a dial for imagination. For your imagination, I want you to turn it up, okay, in your mind. Turn it up and leave it up for the remainder of this class. I'm going to be asking you to use your imagination. Right now, I want you to go back, take yourself back to when you first learned how to drive, okay? When you first learned how to drive. All right, so there was almost like too much to remember, right? We had to have our hands on the, just so on the steering wheel when we were learning. Take yourself back to that place. Okay, hands had to be a certain place. And then there was that shifter, and if there was a clutch, we had to figure out just when, you know, and where to move it, right? That's more information. And then there were 2 side mirrors, and tracking that, and just when and where to look and what to look for, right? Then there was that rear view mirror, and when to look at that, right? You following me? You're kind of going back to when you first learned. And then, you know, of course, the ignition, turning that on. And then there were those pedals and figuring out just the right amount of pressure, when to press on one, and just that perfect amount of pressure, right? Then there was driving and actually staying in between those lines, tracking, okay, this one and that one, oh, don't go over here, don't go over there too much. And then watching out for those children that, I don't know about you, that I was told that at any moment floods of children could be running in the street. So you got to be on the alert, right? And so what happened in learning that was almost too much information, so many little details. And what happened is we repeated it over and over and over again, didn't we? We kept getting in that car, we kept doing all those things, driving down the road, Over and over and over, we kept repeating that. To the point that I'll bet now, every single one of you would get in your car, drive for, probably 100 miles, and never ever think about where your hands are on the steering wheel. Am I right? So let me ask you this. Who's driving the car? Who's driving the car when you're on the cell phone, talking to somebody, or you're trying really hard not to text, or talk into your phone, or you're eating, or you're talking to somebody else, you're totally distracted. Who's driving your car? You can yell it out. You can yell it out. Your subconscious, did I hear somebody say that? Absolutely. Your subconscious or unconscious part of your mind. Thank goodness this part of our brain was paying attention. Thank goodness this part of our brain was tracking it all, was keeping it all, was memorizing all those different steps. Right, and so what that illustrates is what we repeat over and over and over again. What we repeat over and over and over again, including what we say to ourselves. The things we say to ourselves. Things like, who am I kidding? Everybody else can do it, but I can't. Things that we say to ourselves, what we repeat over and over again, things we say to ourselves, things that other people have said to us, especially when we're little kids, because when we're little kids up to a certain age, we are in a trance. We are in a hypnotic trance. So what people say to us up to a certain age gets downloaded right here in our unconscious mind. So what we repeat over and over again, including things that people said to us, things like, well, people said to me, fatty patty, you know, or honey, you know, you're always going to be big bone. You're just never going to lose that weight. You're always, or thank goodness you have a pretty face because, you know, or worse, right? Some of us remember those things that were said to us. Mean things sometimes by kids, by other siblings. Those things that we repeat over and over and over again get moved over here, just like the act of driving, so that it becomes moved over to our unconscious mind. So it's a program running in the background, making sure we're going to do it. And that's pretty sad, isn't it? So that means that if you've ever, you know, set out to change your life, or to, you know, release excess weight, or to start a fitness program, or change your eating, and you get to a certain place, you know, and perhaps you mess up, and then you think, who am I kidding? Oh, what's the use? Chances are you've got some unconscious, subconscious programming going on in the background, stopping you, sabotaging you, telling you, listen, you can't go any further because this is who you are. Pretty sad. But the good news is the best way to talk to that unconscious, subconscious part of your mind, the best way to talk to it is with hypnosis. With hypnosis, we can add, we can reprogram, we can give it new information. Do you know that we think every day about 60,000 thoughts a day? Okay, now about 80% of those thoughts are the same thoughts. And many of those we need to think every day. Thoughts like, okay, I've got to get up on this amount of time, I've got to do this, that, and the other thing. Here's the route to work, and here's what I do on my job or school or whatever. Many of those thoughts need to be the same. But those other thoughts like, who am I kidding? Here I go again. Everybody else can do it, but not me. Those other thoughts, how many of you would like to get rid of those other thoughts? Yes, I would too. I do. Yes, what hypnosis does, it adds more thoughts. Thoughts like, I love myself. I'm making healthy choices each and every day. I'm succeeding. I'm prepared ahead of time when I go to the grocery store with a list. I am more and more confident each and every day. I appreciate myself. Sleeping more soundly. I'm balanced, settled in my life. How would you like to have those kinds of thoughts running in the background, supporting you in achieving those goals?